You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah!
All right, welcome back to our second half of our show, Ask the Master Auto Technician. I have Tony with a 2011 Camry. Tony, what is your question about your Camry this morning?
Yeah, James, I enjoy your show,
Well,
brother.
thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it, sir. I hope we're helping you out a little bit.
I like to keep my car clean inside and out. I also like to, ask you what is the best way to keep your engine clean.
The best way to keep your engine clean, in my opinion, and the least invasive and causing the less damage, is just go buy you a can or a bottle of Purple Power, that concentrated Purple Power, put it in a spray bottle or one of those pump-up sprayers, like a bug sprayer, and just spray it full concentrate on the engine and take a water hose and wash it right off. And that will clean everything on that engine. The grease will fall right off. But, the bad part about it is if you put it, it's going to go right into the sewer system. So, the storm drain. So try to do it on your grass. At least that'll be absorbed and broke down over a period of time. But Purple Power is biodegradable. But the grease, of course, is only biodegradable when it's mixed with air, when air gets to it. But yeah, if you want to clean the grease off your engine, a little Purple Power and a water hose does wonderful things. Doesn't have to be hot water, doesn't have to be high pressure.
And it doesn't need to be high pressure.
No,
yes.
It doesn't need to be high pressure because you can get that high pressure in the weather-tight packings in there, and that causes a lot of problems. So just use a regular water hose and wash it right off. Does that help you get the answer on how to keep that clean?
Yes, it does. I appreciate it, James.
Now,
hey,
don't use silicone.
Congratulations. You did a good job on your debate here a few weeks ago. I was watching that.
Well,
you did a great job.
Well, thank you. Well, that's one of the things. We got another one tomorrow night at the Martin Luther King Community Center, African American Community Center, and this is the last one. We're only less than 2 weeks away from this being over with, and it's really neat. It's been a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I want to be Bay County's next county commissioner out there. It's only going to be 2 years before I have to run again. But it's a lot of, I just want to make sure that people's voices get heard. I'm tired of what's happening and what I've seen over the years.
Well, what I've heard so far, you've done a great job. And I saw your wife here a couple of weeks ago putting signs up on Tyndall Parkway.
She's good at that. She's a great campaign manager. She's the hardest working woman in politics out there.
I believe. Well, I'll tell you what, she sounds like she knows what she's doing.
She's smarter than me, I think. I'll be honest with you. That woman is so smart, she scares me sometimes. I'll be sitting there thinking about something in the car, and all of a sudden she'll look at me and go, "Have you tried that?" And I look at her and go, "No, but that's a great idea." That really is. She's very, very smart, and I married up when I married her. Let me show you. Let me tell you that.
Hey, I understand that. I did too. Well, thanks a lot, James.
All right,
I appreciate your help.
You're very welcome, sir. I'm going to get Karen Schoen on here. I got Karen Schoen calling all the way from Greenwood, Florida, not Greenhead. How are we doing this morning, Karen?
We are doing great, and looking forward to another beautiful day in Northwest Florida, with the exception, of course, that we don't have enough rain.
Well, that'll come.
Unfortunately, we have to be aware of that as well.
Well, yeah, like I said last week, I had a problem with my bees invading my neighbor's horse trough. They were so dry, all my bees up in Calhoun County, the swamp has dried up. They don't have any water, so they went over to my neighbor's horse trough and were scaring his horses. So I had to go out there and make sure I put water out for my bees where they won't bother my neighbor's horses. But you're right, it is pretty dry out there. But that's what a part about being a farmer. You have no control over the weather. But what we do have control over is people that we put into office. And we have elections, and people should be going out and voting right now, because when they see this, it's early voting is taking place right now in Florida. Because this show is showing a week later than it really is, so it's already started in our part of Florida.
It's very exciting to listen to you and to feel all of the enthusiasm and hear it in your voice, and I certainly hope that you win, because you would be fantastic to let the people have their voice back, and that's really what this election is all about, is giving back the people their voice.
Yeah, I think you're right. What I'm seeing right now is we have people, the powers to be, the status quo, seem to have preferences to the people they put in office. They support them financially. They make sure they get in office. And then too much is given, much is expected. Then when decisions need to be made about, do we go left or do we go right? They just look at the person they put in office, help get in office, say, hey, I really like for you to vote left on this one or vote right on this one. And they go, sure, no problem whatsoever, whether that's best for the people or not. And that's one of the reasons I'm running, is because I felt, maybe not saying that's going to happen, but in the past I've seen that happen.
On the news.
Right.
And it seems
happen.
as though Alabama's justice system is just as bad as our DOJ. They have railroaded Justice Thomas More, who was, if you remember, way back when Obama said, that everybody has to sign up for gay marriages, and that became a new interpretation on marriage. Justice Moore said, no, this is not a new interpretation. He quoted the Constitution. They went after him. They railroaded him. They could not get a decision to get him removed, so what they did was they suspended his term and took him off the bench and went into his offices and demanded that he and his staff clean out his office like an appeal was never going to happen, or an appeal was already acted upon. They condemned him, they cited him, and without any type of due process, he was suspended from office.
Wow.
And they took away the elected official, which they had no right to do.
I thought only the governor could take away an elected official. So did the governor take it away?
We have justices that are being elected.
All right.
And we have to make sure that it is very, very important that we pay attention to who the justices are and to getting them elected. This is very, very important.
Now, okay, go ahead.
In the lame duck session, which will happen in 2 weeks once we know who the new president is going to be,
right.
I believe that the TPP will come floating up to our legislature. And the more that I learn about it, the more dangerous it is. And that's something that we all have to pay attention to and make sure that whoever is the new senator in Florida votes a big fat no on the TPP.
Now, if people don't know what the TPP, that's a Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And what they have done in this, it's like, it's a humongous document, so it's almost impossible to read. So I have different people that they read sections and then they report back to me.
Okay.
They have created its own court so that our Constitution will become null and void, as all of the signers will be now using a world court who will make all of the decisions. And the United States becomes just another vote, just another, a cog in the wheel. We have the same power as a country like Brunei, where Sharia law is evident. And also the most scary part is that the document is what they call a living document. So that means that
it can change.
If another group gets elected or gets put in place to create these laws, that they will have autonomy and they can change anything.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like an Animal Farm where on the, all animals are created equal. Then they came out the next day and found out all animals are created equal, except some animals are more equal than others. They could change it as they felt needed to. And that's where the Constitution that we have is not a living document. It's not. It's like your house payment. You have a certain amount of money you have to pay every month, and you just can't change it because you want to.
Imagine, here's one thing that they're going to be doing. They're going to be not allowing any country to list the country of origin of food.
Wait a minute. Now, there are some countries out there that have been kind of, like honey. I'll be honest with you. That's food right there. And we've been flooded by honey from China that has devalued the price of honey. And what they're doing is they've actually exceeded the amount. They've been flooding the market literally with honey, driving down the price of honey, forcing honey farmers out of business. They did that 10 years ago and almost succeeded shutting down the honey industry, and now they're trying to do it again. So I know what you're talking about.
Well, they not only did they say that they won't allow the country of origin, but they'll also be limiting quoting what each country can produce.
Mm-hmm. Now,
so,
yeah.
and I don't know if people realize, but almost 90% of the fish that we eat comes from overseas.
Even our
and
shrimp.
Please
Yes.
do research, folks, on the fish that you eat and see what it means, what farm-raised fish really means.
Well, that is if you read that, if you Google how was it tilapia, Anna Marie, that you were telling me about tilapia, how it's farmed and how it's raised over here, or shrimp, how it's farmed and how it's raised and brought over here, and versus the shrimp that are caught wild. They're trying to get it where you can't catch shrimp wild. You can't fish in our waters, but other countries can come up to our edge and fish, it seems like, but we have a hard time doing it here in America.
America has the most sanitary conditions.
We do.
And we have to really look at the big picture as well, because if we're eating food, anything from overseas, and their conditions are nothing like what we have in the United States. Mm-hmm. And when our food comes in from overseas, it's impossible for inspections to happen. So maybe 2% of the food is actually inspected. And since NAFTA, let's take a look at the diseases that have hit the American people and how they have spread, how broad they have become. Mm-hmm. And then we go and we look and we say, where is this fish coming from? And what does this fish actually contain? Mm-hmm. And we find that they're filled with toxins and, all kinds of disease-type things. And we wonder why Americans are getting sick. We wonder why, bad things are happening with our food. Mm-hmm. We have every now and then we'll have a major deal that we have to recall some type of food.
Right.
And all of this we can trace back to where the country of origin of the food comes from. We won't have that option anymore.
I think you're right. A lot of it has to do, I'm trying to figure out why they're doing that. And the only reason I think it always has to do with money. Always follow the money on everything, whether it's who's running for office, who's supporting that candidate, follow the money, who's supporting them, or where our food supplies come from. I know that a lot of our food comes from big agribusiness, and a lot of it comes from imported from overseas. But who makes the money on the importation of it?
United Nations, in conjunction with Gina McCarthy, who is the head of the EPA,
right,
just deemed that the chemicals used in the refrigerants for refrigeration and air conditioning are going to harm the ozone layer and will cause global warming. So they want to phase out air conditioning and refrigeration.
I'm dealing with it right now on cars, and they're trying to tell me I've got to use another refrigerant out there, which is a drop-in replacement for 134A. It costs 10 times more, but it has a global warming factor of only 3 versus 300. And I'm going, this is all a bunch of BS out here. It really is. Hey, Karen, we're up against the clock. I got to go. Thank you so much.
I've got to tell you good luck, and everybody, please vote. This is the most important election that we are facing, and we have to decide whether we want to be America with borders or no America under the United Nations who wants to give away our air conditioning and refrigerators.
Give away our sovereignty as well. All right, you be good, Karen. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.